Um, okay. Well, I'm a mom. I have 3 kids. I live in Maryland, and I work for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. I feel like my calling came to me after being a caretaker for my mom who had ovarian cancer. And so, after having that experience of helping her through her 8-year battle, I decided I need to do something to help people with cancer. And so, a few weeks after she passed, I was then diagnosed with chronic lymphocytic leukemia. So I've always worked in the realm of trying to help people with a malignancy, and then it happened to me. So in some ways, I was prepared, you know.
My goodness. Okay. See, I didn't even know right out of the gate. I'm like, oh, so many
Sorry.
things to unpack. No, that's okay.
That was perfect, though.
That was, yeah, you did really well. Just so
Okay.
you know. Like, don't, yeah. Um, my goodness. Okay. So, so your mom passed away from ovarian cancer,
Yes.
and then you were diagnosed. How, tell me about, if you don't mind,
Sure,
like your
I'm open book.
diagnosis and sort of how that came about.
Yeah, well, I had not been feeling well for several weeks, but of course, as a mom, you can explain that away. I'm tired, I'm busy, I've been a caretaker, and that's a round the clock job. So I'd kind of put it on the back burner for a little bit, but then when I had a little more time, I started pursuing it with my primary care doctor, and I just felt really tired. I felt kind of like I had mononucleosis. I just could sleep all day and just didn't feel well overall. And so I had some blood tests that came back where my white blood cell count was high, but not alarmingly so. So we just kept an eye on it. And then I found some lymph nodes, and that, of course, was alarming. And then, had scans and tests, and ultimately went to an oncologist who removed a lymph node, and then I was diagnosed with chronic lymphocytic leukemia.
Talk a little bit about that type of cancer for people who don't know anything about it.
Sure, chronic lymphocytic leukemia is rare in people my age group. The common or most common age of diagnosis is 72, and in older men. So I didn't fit that category, which is why I think it kind of took a while to get my diagnosis. It wasn't on the top of the doctor's radar. And chronic lymphocytic leukemia is a chronic cancer, meaning it's slow growing. So where most people get a cancer diagnosis, they are off to the races to get their treatment, the sooner the better. Chronic cancers, and this one included, you wait until your disease is to the point where you really are in need of treatment. So you enter a period of what's called watch and wait. For me, that was almost 3 years that I was able to, be checked every few months to keep an eye on my labs. And then after about 3.5 years, it was time for treatment.
Wow. Okay. So you started treatment and you were working with your oncologist in Maryland, as a person would who lives in Maryland.
Right.
So talk about how you ended up being connected with healthcare here in Columbus.
Well, as you said, I live in Maryland, and I have a plethora of great facilities, well-known facilities nearby. I live near Johns Hopkins. I saw a specialist at Georgetown University. I also enrolled in an observational clinical study at NIH, Institute of Health, and I felt like when it was time for treatment, I'm covered. It's all right here in my backyard. But things changed after my diagnosis. I should backtrack a little bit. Chronic lymphocytic leukemia is incurable. And when I was diagnosed, there was one treatment available. It was a chemotherapy combination called FCR, and that stands for fludarabine, cyclophosphamide, and rituximab. I knew after some genetic testing that FCR would not work for me. So I was diagnosed with a incurable, fairly untreatable cancer. The life expectancy is 7 years. And at the time, my daughter was 5 years old. So it's sometimes hard to find the strength to put one foot in front of the other when you know that there's a good chance you're going to miss weddings and graduations and being a grandmother. Those were things that I mourned. And I recall going to my closet and hiding from my kids because I didn't want them to see me cry. And just, mourning those things and trying to realign my life goals. But as anyone does who's given a poor prognosis, you make a conscious decision that, you know what, that may be what the statistics are now, but who knows, maybe things can change. And as my luck would have it, about a year after my diagnosis, I found through lots and lots and lots of research a new drug that had come about. This drug was called ibrutinib. And Dr. Bird at Ohio State University is credited for bringing this to us. And this drug, as I was reading about it, I learned was taking people out of hospice and back to their regular lives. So I had the ingredient that every cancer patient needs. I had hope, and that got me out of the closet, so to speak, so that I was able to say, you know what, I can keep on. There is a point to me continuing my goals, my dreams, my plans. I wasn't ready to give up on them. And so this new drug, ibrutinib, was in the back of my mind that when I need treatment, I'm gonna seek this drug out. It was not FDA approved at the time. Several months later, through my research, I found another drug called venetoclax. And this drug seemed to be even more potent than ibrutinib and was getting people to complete responses in a fairly short period of time. So I had even more hope. And so when I did need treatment, I sought these medicines, and I did searches on clinicaltrials.gov, and I found the trial here at Ohio State.
Could you do that again? I searched for?
Yes.
Just from there?
Yeah, of course. So when it was time for me to receive treatment, I went online and I went to clinicaltrials.gov, and I found the trial that included venetoclax, ibrutinib, and a third treatment called obinutuzumab here at Ohio State University.
Excellent. My goodness, you say those
Sorry.
drugs like they're so all the time.
I met Dr. Bird.
Did you?
Oh yeah, me too.
He's like the rock star in our world,
Yeah,
you know.
he's amazing.
He's kind of a big deal here.
Yeah,
too.
oh, I bet.
Oh yeah.
It's amazing.
Oh yeah. Okay, so you